Welcome! Data.youthbuild.org, or DYB for short, is the new reporting system for YouthBuild affiliates. Every program that's part of the YouthBuild USA affiliated network must provide program and student data as part of the licensing agreement. All students who participate in your YouthBuild program, regardless of funding, should be entered into DYB. By the time this video is over, you'll have a basic grasp of how DYB works, be able to enter and correct data, and know how to access support through the help desk and through the resources in the DYB knowledge base. To log into DYB, go to data.youthbuild.org. Enter your username and password. If you don't remember your username or password, there's a Forgot Password link here on the lower right. If you're a new user, we'll show you how to create an account shortly. Let's log in. After you log in, you'll land on your program's overview page. Now that we're here, let's talk about how most pages work in DYB. There's always a menu on the side to take you where you need to go, and the top bar will have helpful information that matches the context of the page that you're on. For example, here we see your basic program information listed. Let's take a quick tour of the overview page. This page is your starting point each and every time you log into DYB and shows summaries of your student and program data, your data verification status, and down here at the bottom are two dials of current program outcomes. On the right side, the recent changes shows you the last couple of students that were edited and which users edited them. Speaking of users, if you're new to DYB and don't have a user account yet, it's easy for staff with admin permissions at your site to add a user from the users page. Now let's talk about each of these sections a bit more. The data summary section will let you know what you have in the system and where you need to start. The student data summary lists the different types of students you have and whether they have outstanding questions that need to be answered with this little issue count here. The issue counts let you know that some information in the system needs updating or some questions need answering. So if you see a number, that's the number of questions that are seeking an answer. And if you see a green check, that means there's no issues. Issue counts won't tell you everything you need to enter, but they're a great starting point. You'll notice active students and in follow-up. Active are students currently in your program, and in follow-up are successful exits that are still in the one-year follow-up period. This student data summary can help you figure out what might need to be done in DYB. The issues show you which groups have outstanding questions, and you can click on any of these lists to access those student records. The program data summary shows if the info about your program model needs updating. So, this program overview page gives you a guide to what you have in the system and what you might need to do next. When you enter new data, DYB will present you with additional questions based on what you entered. To illustrate this, let's go through entering a new student. To do this, click on the Students page from the menu. What we see on this page are all of your previously entered YouthBuild students. You can split them up into different student groups by clicking on these links here at the top of the list. You can also search for students by name using the search bar, or view more sorting options to the right. To enter a new student, click Add Student. Enter their name and enrollment date and click Add. The enrollment date should be the day that the student starts receiving YouthBuild programming or services. You should not enter applicants into DYB. Immediately, our new student is added to the All and Active student lists, and issue counts show next to the new student's name. This logic holds true for the whole system. When you add one piece of information, the issue counts will go up to show you if additional questions need to be answered. Let's click on our new student. This opens up their student overview page. Notice at the top of the page, you'll see a few pieces of helpful information for that student, such as status and enrollment date, and placeholders for placements, credentials, and certificates. As you add attainments, this information will update. In the body of the student overview page, you'll see summaries of different data pages. Notice the issue count of questions that need to be answered match the issue counts on the menu pages. Each page on the menu contains different information for this student's record. Let's continue with our new student now by going to their profile page. This page deals with key at-entry demographic information as well as criminal justice information. And without getting into each specific question, notice the way that this form and page behaves is the way that all forms in DYB behave. There are issue counts on the menu to the left, and each piece of missing data is highlighted blue on the form, and we're going to go ahead and enter in what we know. Sections can be entered and saved partially. And as we add and then save, we see the green confirmation bar appear at the top, letting us know data was saved successfully. And we also see the issue count go down with each outstanding question we answer. You can also click in to edit something previously entered and make a change. Black circles with question marks show helpful information when you roll your mouse over them. Lastly, on the profile page, we enter before entry criminal justice information for this student. Notice there's no more blue questions left on this page, and our issue count is gone. Now that the student is in DYB, any of your staff can work on any piece of information that they have. For example, a case manager could be entering test scores for this student while you enter placement info. Before we move on, there's another important feature in DYB to point out: getting help. At the bottom of every page is the contact information to reach us at DYB support, as well as this question mark help link. Clicking this will open the DYB knowledge base in a separate tab where you can search for help on any topic. It's chock full of information and how-to articles about all things DYB, and definitely worth checking out. Now let's go to the education page and enter this student's @entry basic skills tests and educational background. Let's enter a reading test. Click Add Reading Test, enter the grade level and date, and click Save. Notice the educational functioning level is calculated automatically. To enter a post-test, you would simply click Add Reading Test again. DYB will know which is a pre- and post-test based on the date. It's also easy to remove information in DYB. Let's say that last reading test was meant for another student, so it was an error. Click on the reading test and choose Remove, and then Confirm Delete. Our page still has issue counts. This is because there's still information to be entered. If we scroll down, we see that education credential before entry and PSE goals are blue, indicating these questions are still outstanding. Now let's go to the certificates page and enter a certificate. Click Add Certificate. The drop-down menu is pre-populated with common certificate types, both industry recognized and foundational. You could use Other if it's not on this list. Let's add an MCCC certificate for our student, the date, and click Save. The certificate also shows on the top bar of the page. Roll over the icon and you can see the certificate we just added. Now let's take a look at the Activities page. YouthBuild USA tracks activities that are central to specific grants and initiatives. So if your program's in the Mentoring Initiative, for example, you'd come to the Activities page and add mentoring to a student. Now let's enter a placement on the Placements page. Placements can be entered at any time. As you receive this information, you can enter it. That's true for all of DYB. Now that we've added our job placement, you can see new issues have popped up indicating the system is seeking more information. Let's resolve those. So now we've enrolled a student, added attainments, added background info, entered a placement and activities, but let's now say this student left our YouthBuild program. When a student leaves your program, the enrollment page is where you record this by adding an exit or leave. Let's walk through a scenario that shows how this works. First, let's look at entering an unsuccessful exit. Choose the exit type that best matches the reasons why the student left the program. Let's say this student moved from the area, but shortly after that student came back to your program. All you have to do is click Add Return Date. In DYB, if a student comes back, just add a return and the student has active status once again. You can also edit the enrollment date on this page. Let's say this date is actually off by a couple of days. Just click in to change the date and save. Now let's add a successful exit. This student performed well and graduated from the program. Now that we've exited the student, you can see there are issue counts indicating the system is seeking more information. For example, after entry questions such as court involvement, voter registration, and high school equivalency. Click each page to answer these new questions. After a student is exited, the follow-up page appears in the left side menu. Your program will follow up with your successful exits for 1 year and update their placement information and criminal justice status every quarter. Verification of follow-up is easy in DYB. The system will let you know the next time that follow-up is needed. Now you know how to enter student data and use the system in order to bring all of your issue counts down to 0 by resolving unanswered questions. Back on the program overview page, you can see there are green check marks next to all our data categories and no issues. Now that our issues are resolved, you'll notice that the Verify button is no longer grayed out. Getting your issue counts down to 0 is one step towards data verification. YouthBuild USA asks that you verify your data once per quarter in the month following each quarter. Essentially, that means that you or another DYB user at your program log into DYB during that month and agree with the statement next to the Verify button. I certify that my program's data is accurate and up to date as of today. Like was said before, the issue counts are a great place to start, but the system can't know all that you need to do to make your data accurate and up to date. For instance, if a student earned a certificate or started a new placement, only you or staff at your program would know that data is missing. So before you click Verify, make sure to enroll new students, exit graduates, add attainments, and most importantly, check your data. We won't get into it here, but browse the knowledge base for tip sheets and articles on how to use reports to check your student data for accuracy. Now that you've got the basics, get logged in and get started with DYB.